Hello and welcome to this Warcraft replay. This is going to be the second game of this best of 3 series. I've actually decided to hold off on uploading the first game until I finished casting the remainders. So yeah, this is going to be the second game, and I believe TeD is 1-0, winning the base race, kind of. So yeah, let me just talk about game 1, what happened. It was actually fairly standard up until the point where TeD started to actually go for some Zeppelin dropping at Yumiko's main expand. Yumiko did have 2 bases, so if it ever came down to a base race, he would look good in that front, but anyway, Yumiko replied back with his own Zeppelin drop. He did a reasonable amount of damage. He even utilized some Goblin Sappers to just try and accelerate that base race, but ultimately I think Yumiko's army just pretty much got wiped out. TeD was the first one to recall. He TP'd back with his TP Squirrel, obviously. Killed pretty much a lot of Yumiko's stuff, and I guess that just led to Yumiko being behind for a very long time. If he tried to remake an army, his army would be picked off one by one by TeD, because TeD went back to just harass again with the Zeppelin dropping. Yeah, even though Yumiko did have 2 bases, TeD ultimately had a better army. He probably could have destroyed both bases by the time his base would have been destroyed, so Yumiko, yeah, pretty much losing that game. Anyway, second game, let's go back to this. Pretty long recollection, I believe, but oh well. Map is on Echo Isles. We have Yumiko spawning in as the red human player on the top left, and we immediately see himself getting a Mountain King first. Usually a very aggressive opening for humans that choose the Mountain King as his first, but that just means that he wants to fight against TeD a lot more, mainly get some picks, early levels on the Storm Bolts as well, increased damage as well as the stun duration, I believe, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good maker, or pretty good opportunity creator, I guess. So finishing up the mercenary camp right there, picking himself the Shadow Priest, as well as getting a +3 ring protection. Not generally the best item from that particular camp, but probably have to do. And TeD is going to start at a rather difficult camp by himself, the Ogre camp at the only Goblin Merchant of the map. He did utilize basically 2 charges of the Rod of Necromancy. He is looking to hopefully pick off, or at least just completely kill, this Ogre Mauler, but the Mountain King is coming. Death Coil will be used to try and secure that kill. Sentry Wards has been picked up. There we go with the Storm Bolts. Probably TeD did not expect that coming, but he will be able to run away safely. Mountain King probably going to pick up some items, maybe sell that ring, boots, and TP staff. Yeah, generally the common combo we see from Mountain Kings for, I guess, the past years, I guess. Sentry Ward has already been used. Pretty decent coverage, actually, covering 2 of the many entrances on the map, and the second Sentry Ward will be used. So basically there's only 2 ways to get past those wards, which is the very top or the very bottom, and that generally takes a long time unless you're gonna go very top. Either way, Mountain King has been spotted by the Sentry Ward, most likely is moving out. Yumiko looking for some early aggression. TeD is indeed at level 2, which is what the Mountain King is at as well, so not disadvantaged at all, I don't think. Maybe since the Mountain King can go for some reliable stuns. Of course he does have the bash as well. Stormbolt actually used to secure that Trapper, and he will get level 3. He did get that boost of experience through the long distance creeping of that Ogre Magi camp, also placing down an expand. Yumiko going rather aggressive against that Death Knight. He does have enough mana for one more Stormbolt, and he will indeed use it, but he is now by himself, and it's rather risky to stay here. And TPing out would be risky, but the Death Knight did not actually go for a Death Coil, so who knows, maybe TeD could have bursted down that Mountain King, but it does not look like that will be happening since the opportunity's already passed. 12 Berserker has been hired up. We do have the claws, but will be sold pretty quickly. Yeah, Shadow Priest being brought over to try and heal that Mountain King up. He needs to pretty much go back to 100% because the Lich is out very soon. There he is. Lich is now out. We do have the Slaughterhouse halfway completed. It does seem like TeD's going for a similar pathway like game 1, which is more focused on those Crypt Fiends. TeD, I would imagine, just limiting himself to Obsidian statues like we saw in game 1. Like, there's no problem with that. He won with that. Although it wasn't like entirely based on his composition, it was just, I guess, poor decision making from Yumiko, but oh well, it's not too important. And as you see, the Mountain King first usually leads to the Lich training up Frost Armor first, so no double combo coming in from TeD. He's actually going to be more preservative. He's more safe against the Mountain King, besides the Archmage, I guess. Now Yumiko is probably going to start this mercenary camp. Renegade Wizard hopefully will drop a very good item, maybe a Sobi Mask. Nope, it's going to be another boost of speed. Not generally the best, since, I mean, you purchased one back at the merchant quite a while ago. We have the main expand being under attack by TeD. Yumiko only has an arcane tower. That's generally not enough. Probably enough to keep these heroes away because the feedback damage is rather unpleasant. But yeah, no TP scroll just yet. We do have a full higher up with the mercenaries, and there we go with the TP. Not that much damage has been dealt to Yumiko's base. Basically, no corpses on the ground. It might just have been those 3 towers. We do have some green blood there. I'm not sure if we had a Crypt Fiend being taken down, but it is a possibility, I guess, since, I mean, Rod Necromancy could have been used to take down the corpse anyway. Arcane Vault is taking some damage, but Yumiko's army looks to be pretty much close to 100%, so they would, I would imagine, be going after that. Yumiko actually looking for a flank, maybe? No, he's just going to take a trip to the Goblin Merchant. The peasants are going to try their best to try and repair this Arcane Vault. It's pretty easy, actually, especially since the Lich started Frost Armor and he has no abilities in the Frost Nova, so he can't really burst them down. Mountain King has been spotted by the Sentry Wards. Remember, those things last a fairly long time. I believe it lasts about... Actually, I think those are just the 5-minute ones, not the 10-minute ones. So yeah, still a fairly long time. Double Berserkers, double Shadow Priests. We also have the Ogre Mauler, who's trying to be as scary as possible. He is going to do bonus damage against those Crypt Fiends. Dust Appearance has been used as well, was picked up by the Merchant, and the Mountain King also uses the Scroll of Protection. That is, I believe, +2 armor to every unit, so it's going to be fairly good. It's basically double a devotion or at least from the item itself. And I actually have no idea who's actually having the upper hand. I think TeD is losing more units compared to Yumiko. Yumiko, I believe, loses his first unit right there, but I believe that was a second Crypt Fiend dying for TeD. Footman drops, but I don't think that's too important. We even have another full higher up at the left mercenary camp. So the new Troll Shadow Priest has been taken down, but it's not that important. We do have a couple of a couple of Crypt Fiends being taken down simultaneously. That is generally not good. TeD is going to be forced to retreat. Obsidian statues, there's only one, but I believe the second one is coming up very soon. There we go. Spirit Touch, as well as the Essence of Blight, I believe the ability is called. Surprisingly, I remember them, especially, well, which is even more impressive because I actually didn't look at that up like I usually do. But yeah, the double statues are up. Not much damage has been dealt greatly to Yumiko, I don't think. I mean, he is playing off of 2 bases, so I believe he can actually afford to lose a couple of units. TeD, unfortunately, is not in the same boat, but he is actually at Black Citadel, so the Destroy form is coming up. We even have triple Obsidian statues, so it was more of a delayed tier 3, not particularly the same strategy as game 1, so I am a little wrong in that front, but it's not too important. 45 supply versus the 50 for Yumiko. So TeD lost himself another Crypt Fiend. He is not looking good to in this particular situation. He needs to retreat. He does have double heroes. Unfortunately, the Mountain King is just proving to be a way better pick. And yeah. Plus the Mountain King has a new set of I guess satchel of dust. I don't know how to describe it. Either way, the destroyers are moving up to Yumiko's main base. TeD is going to, I guess, invest the rest of his units to try and defend. We have a lot of guard towers. That is an amazing amount of scout towers. As well as only 4 guard towers being upgraded, but TeD is going to make short work of that. Immediately guard tower gets taken down after it's been completed. We have some cancellations right here. Yumiko is not going to look good after this. I mean, the towers are sure taking a lot of time from these destroyers, and the mana has now run out, so they no longer have the chaos splash damage that they would have used against those peasants, and now they're just going to use it. Now they're just going to just attack normally against those peasants, not generally quick in annihilating them, I guess. We have a TP scroll being used, so pretty much Yumiko's army is consisting of mercenaries instead of human units, actually. I find that very interesting, but that's something you can do since Yumiko is running off of 2 bases anyway, and of course mercenaries are instantly created. They just cost a lot more, I guess. So 3 destroyers, we have another statue up, so TeD is indeed heavily investing on way more statues than Crypt Fiends, but he's not neglecting on his Crypt Fiend count, I guess. Okay, so as we saw in the expand, I guess, there's going to be a lot of guard towers for Yumiko's base. His main one is now being filled up with the guard towers, but wow, that's 2 pretty huge losses for Yumiko, actually. Losing 2 of his Ogre Maulers. Very nice death coil right there. Frost Nova to push away the Mountain King. Unfortunately, we did not have the Lich going for a Frost Armor, and yeah, that's pretty much it. He has no mana. He's going to get constantly given it by those statues, but not anymore since they've already turned into destroyers. Now the Orbs of Annihilation needs to do pretty quick work against these guard towers, because these guys are also going to get shredded by those guard towers. Yeah, just piercing damage is a nightmare against those destroyers. Crypt Fiends are going to do pretty decent work against these ground units, but the Mountain King is also doing a lot of work himself. He's pretty much one-man armying this thing. Unfortunately, he is out of mana, and we do not have an Arcane Vault at the main base. Pretty smart for TeD to be focusing on the main base, where the Arcane Vault would generally not be placed. which is a weird mind games, I guess, kind of thing. Keep tick nearly completed. TeD unfortunately is not able to break through this ever-changing wall, but he will be just claiming Yumiko's, I guess, nearby resources. He's starving his opponent, and yeah, I guess that's generally smart. I mean, if TeD did not take it, Yumiko would have used it for a second hero. I'm actually very interested to see what the second hero is going to be. It could either be a paladin, it could be a blood mage for the extra mana for the Mountain King. It could even be the archmage again, just like the elementals might prove to be useful, but I mean, it's against destroyers, so I highly doubt elementals will be used. Beastmaster is generally one thing that have been seen from humans, but that's also like giving the free win to your opponent because some units are just not good against destroyers. We have a second slaughterhouse coming up, and we are probably going to be focusing quite heavily on meat wagons. We did see the first one, I believe. That was the first one. Yeah, that probably was the first one being caught out by the Mountain King, and that's generally not good. Acolytes are going to take some beatings from the Mountain King himself. Mountain King does have the TP staff. He does not have a scroll, but he will be able to get out of there pretty safely. We now have the double sanctums being placed down as well. The priests are pretty much needed. Magic sentry just in case any shades are just wandering around. I mean, if it gets to that point, it's pretty scary because that would lead to frost runes being trained up. But with the amount of guard towers there are, I'm like glad to see TeD has realized meat wagons are the more optimum choice, I guess. And TeD could even go for an expand. I mean, he's just clearing this just in case, but there's the possibility of expanding. I believe the gunpowder upgrades is just for a workshop. Nope, that's an arcane vault. I mean, in order to counter those meat wagons, he needs to go for his own mortar teams, and workshop is now being placed down at the expand. First meat wagon is moving out. No disease cloud has been upgraded just yet, I don't think. And yeah,
the town is under siege.
We do see a second workshop being placed down, but that is immediately going to be destroyed. I don't think Yumiko cancelled that. And oh, the arcane vault is actually going to be the first target from the for those meat wagons. Replacement, nope, that's a replacement workshop actually. But no, the arcane vault was not able to be destroyed. Frost Nova on the Mountain King. He is level 5, so he's pretty much hit the minimum point where he can be scary. Level 3 Stormbolt is not something to laugh at, and that will hopefully create better opportunities for him. I mean, the damage is very nice on that. Now it looks like the town hall is being attacked. Like, I don't know, Yumiko has not been given the chance to create any of those mortar teams. He is supply blocked, which is rather surprising because this is a crucial moment and he is supply blocked. Blood Mage has been seen as the second hero. He does have pretty much stacked up on consumables except for one health pot. Probably could not afford it. But yeah, Yumiko probably needs to go for the Flame Strike. No, he's actually going to go for the Banish. Banish is going to amplify the damage of the Stormbolt, which is level 3, like I keep on mentioning before. That is going to be an insane amount of damage. I believe Banish amplifies the magic by like... Actually, how much does it amplify by? It's around the 25 to 50% mark, so I don't exactly remember. I could actually be completely wrong in this, but you know, just gonna take a guess. Yumiko is actually going to spend quite a lot of resources in trying to repair this town hall, and surprisingly enough, the flying machines are coming out instead of the mortar teams. This is going to be a rather interesting pathway for him. He's actually more concerned about those destroyers than he is about those meat wagons, and as you saw right again, Banish, Stormbolt, just very strong. We do have the webs now being utilized by those Crypt Fiends. There's just not enough flying machines to deal with these like destroyers, and well, the flying machines are constantly coming out, but like if they come in one by one, it's generally suicidal. And surprisingly enough, the Town Hall is still alive. Unfortunately, there is no more Crypt Fiends for the Banish Stormbolt to come into play here, but that was a pretty nice move to just clear out the Crypt Fiends. There we go with another one. Banish Stormbolt. That's just amazing. I actually did not realize it could one-shot those Crypt Fiends. I mean, those Crypt Fiends are not... their health is not laughable at. 550. I believe Stormbolt... how much does it do, actually? I think it does at least like 300 damage. I could be wrong, but... I mean... if I am wrong, then that's a lot of amplification from the Banish. Oh no, this is not good. There was no Banish from the Blood Mage, but it wasn't. It doesn't matter too much. Now the meat wagons are being left alone, and we actually have a considerable amount of flying machines now, especially since there are no Crypt Fiends around. Those flying machines will not be dealt with too heavily, although I mean, without the Crypt Fiends, like, there's no need to whip them anymore. But it does look like Yumiko is able to push away the meat wagons, for now at least. Only one meat wagon was able to be destroyed. I'm actually surprised that Yumiko didn't go for the mortar teams. He's actually had quite a handful of peasants just auto-repairing this, and he does have 3,500 gold left on his second gold mine. I believe this gold mine's almost wearing out. Yeah, I would give it probably maybe just 1 minute, I guess. I mean, this gold mine doesn't have much to last. I'm pretty sure it's within a minute for this one, at least 30 seconds. And flying machines are still trying to deal with these destroyers. Obviously, just the death coil is going to be a big factor into this, just keeping those destroyers alive while flying machines really can't be healed up. We even have abominations being added to the mix. Surprisingly enough, they have +1 attack instead of +1 armor, so they're actually going to be used for damage. There we go, the Siphon Mana right there. Ooh, the Blood Mage. Probably did not expect this. And we do have a bomb coming up here. Stormbolt's going to be used, wow, like half health, like very quickly. I'm surprised no banishes come out, but the abomination will be able to live, hopefully, I guess. Nope, another Stormbolt's going to answer that pretty adamantly, actually. And ooh, the meat wagons. I guess it's pretty smart for TeD right now. He is going to be focusing on the gold mine, or the gold line for Yumiko. And I was actually surprised he didn't do this earlier, but yep. I mean, either option is going to drain Yumiko in terms of resources, so pretty smart right there. Now we have a lot of flying machines against only 2 destroyers. First destroyer is going to be taken down. Lich is getting his mana siphoned once again, and the Blood Mage will probably go for another target. He's very close to level 3. And unfortunately the Mountain King is not going to be deterred. The invulnerability potion was able to give him some immunity for some time, but he is taking a lot of damage now. The Banished has been used, but that's risky in itself because it also amplifies damage to him. But thankfully TeD is not worried about that. He has no mana actually. Well, he does have mana on the Lich. Oh, I just realized this right now. It's going to be a pretty scary point if actually it comes down to this. Very close to level 6 on the Death Knight, very close to level 6 on the Lich. I mean, I guess that's why we're seeing more abominations from TeD. So if Raised Dead ever comes into play, we will have 3 invulnerable abominations. and any potential units that Yumiko might lose as well. I don't think Crypt Fiends are being focused anymore for TeD, and he is haunting the second gold mine, so at least he has resources available for that. I mean, the benefit of Undead is that you don't need the Necropolis. You can just haunt the gold mine and you're good to go. So yeah, definitely taking advantage of that. Yumiko is not gonna look good after his gold mine has collapsed. I mean, he is actually going to Castle Tech, a very, very interesting move right there, because he doesn't have that much resources left to spend. He has 1500 gold available, he has 900 in the bank. He does have a little bit to work with. I mean, it might not be enough for like full transition into Griffin Aviaries, but maybe perhaps into like those the air to ground attack upgrades for those flying machines. We have the Blood Mage trying to deal some harassment to the existing acolytes here. So Yumiko is aware that this does exist. Stormbolt to take down one of the acolytes. Pretty excessive, but he needs to kill them somehow.
A player's forces are under attack.
And Abomination number 4 is coming out for TeD. So he is actually really relying on just very meaty frontline for him, and as well as possibly the Raised Dead. I mean, most players don't generally go for the Raised Dead, but maybe in this situation it's good. We have another workshop being placed down. I really hope that this doesn't come down to siege tanks, because that's generally what like these more than 2 workshop counts actually leads into. It's probably gonna be a siege tank all in here from Yumiko, but you know, just fingers crossed, hopefully not. So in terms of creep camps left, we have the one in the marketplace, basically the trappers left, and we have the gargantuan sea turtle camp at the bottom left. That's pretty much it. I'm actually surprised that it's come down to this long, but yeah, sorcerers are still at adept training, so no polymorphs available just yet. We do have Castle Tech, so maybe we'll see something like that, but priest adept training is being being progressed. We have the Mountain King just trying to kill these acolytes once again, just dealing with the economy of TeD. Level 6 has been gained, so that's something worth considering. Level 3 has been gained on the Blood Mage, not too important, but level 6 is pretty much a big deal, because that will that means the avatar form is available for the Mountain King. So what's the avatar form? It's basically giving the Mountain King, I believe, increased health, increased damage, as well as spell immunity, which is probably not as impressive as Metamorphosis, but it's pretty still a big deal, because the Mountain King can't really be dealt with unless he's heavily focus fired, and he can't really be focus fired too much by Destroyer. So yeah, TeD's not actually high in that Destroyer count anymore. So we're still at 1-0 with the Abominations. We have 5 Abominations out in the field right now, and surprisingly only 1 statue. Yeah, TeD just does not have enough resources. I think that attack at the Acolytes was pretty much a big deal, because I mean, look at it, he's just trying to scrape up as much gold as possible just to regain his economy, and now the flying machines have the air to ground attack upgrades, which is siege damage. It's going to be really annoying for TeD to deal with, because I mean, he has absolutely no defenses whatsoever besides the Black Citadel. There's the Black Citadel to just try and defend, but it's not going to deal that much damage. I mean, flying machines are pretty weak themselves, and oh dear, it is. Oh man, I'm just shaking my head right now. Like, it is actually going to be siege tanks. This is Yumiko's. It's always been Yumiko's last saving grace. It's a pretty annoying, very hard to deal with if you're not a night elf. Siege tank, all in. Well, technically it's siege engine, but they're basically tanks, you know what I mean. One flying machine able to be taken down. But how many ziggurats were taken down in the process? I think probably at least 3, maybe 4. If I'm not mistaken. TeD using frost armor, I'm not sure why. But yeah, sacrificial pit is going to be built. And honestly, that's just in reply for the invisible Mountain King and Blood Mage as well. Both heroes do have the Staff of Sanctuary, so they will be able to save all their units. And this is like, wow, all into the max. We have masters, trained priests, and they have casted Inner Flame or Inner Fire on those siege engines. So that's increased armor as well as increased damage. I believe it's percentage based as well, so it's gonna be pretty hard. Abominations are gonna try and deal with this as much as possible. The first one looks to be killed off pretty quickly, but there's just so many siege engines that it's gonna be rather difficult. If this haunted gold mine gets taken down, it's gonna be rather difficult for TeD to try and combat against this. The Mountain King is at avatar form. He is pretty big, he's pretty white, pretty silvery actually. Blood Mage has been taken down, so that's at least a plus for TeD. Mountain King is at 500 health. The Death Knight is going to try and deal with this. Level 6 has been gained. Not enough Abominations has been killed off. I think only one has been killed off actually. No, none has been killed off, so it's not really worth taking the raised dead, so Unholy Aura has been picked up instead. Siege engines were able to destroy most of these buildings. Sacrificial Pit is now the last one, and it has been taken down. So that is Yumiko's last saving grace, and I think he just won with that. If he keeps his Mountain King alive, then he's probably won. I mean, he has 2 master priests. I mean, like, Inner Fire that Mountain King, maybe keep him alive with heals as well. Flying machines, I mean, initially they were there to counteract those destroyers, but now they're just there to be absolute annoying monsters, and they have pretty much destroyed most of the base alongside with those siege engines. I mean, 2-0 siege engines, that's pretty difficult to deal with. Abominations, I think TeD was expecting this kind of, but the Abominations just were not able to kill those siege engines quick enough. I mean, the only way to deal with those siege engines is siege damage, and I mean, there's just not enough meat wagons, or at least they weren't in position to try and deal with them. And TeD is now, for the entire game, or at least for the entire rest of the game, he is going to be trying to protect these 3 buildings, because that's all he's got. He can't actually rebuild a ziggurat. Surprisingly enough, he's left his meat wagons here, but that's not going to save it. The flying machines are once again at it, selling all the items for TeD. Necropolis is going to be placed down. Wow. Alright, let's see how this will actually turn out. It's a rather large base to deal with, but level 6 is available for the Lich. He is using the what is it called? Death and Roses? Or Deathly Roses? I forgot like completely, because no one uses this ability, but it is going to do quite a significant amount of damage. It actually does percentage damage, and since buildings have such high maximum damages, it just destroys them completely. I think it's more effective compared to Earthquake actually, but I could be wrong there, mainly because I haven't seen Earthquake in a very long time. Necropolis has been found out. I mean, TeD still has these 3 buildings here, and he still has to wait for the Black and Roses, I think that was called, ability. He still needs to wait for that cooldown, and that's gonna be rather a long time. I would imagine this game is gonna be extremely strenuous, and it will take a very long time in itself. Mountain King took quite a bit of a beating, and Yumiko is absolutely just stripped out of gold. He's actually kept his priests in his expand instead of using them for combat at all. So sorceress there just for the invisibility, priest there just to heal up that Mountain King, because there is absolutely no way he can afford a health pot. Here comes the Lich once again. I believe it's on a relatively short cooldown, so he can go for the ultimate ability once again, but the towers are just in a way more favorable location. The Lich is going to take a lot of damage if he actually goes for that. Wow, the flying machines actually cleaning up the rest of the buildings. I mean, the slaughterhouse both of the slaughterhouses were very low hit points, so it was just cleanup duty for these guys. The crypt is going to take some work because it is at 5 full hit points, but yeah. TeD's necropolis is now completed. The Crypt Fiend has now burrowed, but the invisible Mountain King with Inner Fire. And yeah, it does not look like it was actually percentage damage. It was just flat out 5-5. Let's see how this will turn out. I'm pretty sure the Mountain King is going to go for these meat wagons, but yeah, he's just not. He can't see a favorable opportunity right now. This is a rather weird stalemate. And once again, flying machines at it again. Ooh, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a rather risky play. The priest, I don't think he should be moving out. I mean, like, one priest to heal up the Mountain King is not going to be fast enough, I don't think. There we go with it once again. The Lich is rather troublesome right now, and I think Yumiko needs to TP back and just Stormbolt the Lich, because he is going to lose his base this way if he's not. There we go with the avatar form. He's actually rushing down the necropolis, and I think he might actually be killed off in time. No, the flying machines are moving out, and TeD has actually realized how dangerous this might actually be. I mean, wow, this is really close. The Mountain King is very close to death, actually. TP staff actually going to be used to try and retreat. The priest needs to heal up the avatar, or the Mountain King, whatever you want to call it. Second priest. Oh no, the second priest has been caught out by the Death Knight. Hopefully he can take a lot of Death Knight's time, but I'm pretty sure the Death Knight's just going to kill him. Death Coil has been used. Spirit Touch. We'll try to keep that Lich as energetic as possible. But yeah, the Mountain King. Where is the Mountain King? Oh, there he is. Apparently he TP'd back at his main base instead. Okay, this is rather tense for Yumiko and TeD. Thankfully buildings don't exactly get damaged when they're burning, so he's one up on that. Yumiko only has 3 flying machines left, and that one Crypt Fiend might actually be the savior of TeD. So Yumiko's target, I would imagine, is going to be that Crypt Fiend. Because if that Crypt Fiend gets taken down, then the only form of defense is either the Obsidian Statue, which is not that great, or the Lich himself, which is needed to try and destroy these buildings. There we go once again, Mountain King moving out with Inner Fire. Death Knight doesn't actually know what to do. I mean, without a shade out in the field, he really can't know when the Mountain King is going to move out.
A town is under siege.
Mountain King, what is he thinking of doing? Okay, he's moving out in a rather weird path. Yumiko is now being revealed. Thankfully it doesn't reveal units, so he's not at that disadvantage right now. I'm pretty sure Avatar form is back up very soon. Ooh, the Crypt Fiend is the target. Crypt Fiend's like out there right in the open. Okay, this is definitely going to be Yumiko's target right now. I don't know when he's going to go for it. I mean, his inner fire is running out. That's rather risky. I mean, he needed all the damage that he could possibly get, and he's not going to get it. Is he going to go after the necropolis immediately after instead? No, he's just going to go straight after it. The Lich has destroyed some of the buildings with his Death and Roses. I think that's what it's called. It's something like that. Okay. I mean, Yumiko has an entire another base to deal with, or TeD has another entire base to deal with afterwards, and Yumiko's just gonna go straight after the Necropolis. TeD needs to try and deal with this, but the Avatar is again just too tanky, and TeD might actually lose this game. One more hit, and this is actually gonna be Yumiko's game right here. I cannot believe this game has lasted that long. TeD had overall the better score, but Yumiko just cheesed it out with the siege tank all in, and that is going to be game 2 of this best of 3 series. So we are going to go game 3. Hopefully it's not as long as this one, but either way I'll see you guys then.